Okay, it is now time to move on to our next segment, or I guess section of bones to cover, and that will include the bones of the hands as well as parts of the arm. So let's get into it. Now, normally I would have this in a different order, but since it's already kind of put in this way, we're just going to go through it in this order. So what I'm going to do today is, if you are attending class live, I will have you take notes and then take a photo and upload them for your assignment today. If you are watching this now, make sure you write down the notes of all these terms and basically just write down the words and then the definition. So it will be 30 in total. Okay, so let's study, shall we? So if you look at the hand, first off, this is the bones of the hand, and you can see that there are a lot of bones. Now, this is one of the few structures where we do have generic names for like groups of bones, but we also have specific names for individual bones. So we have bones of the wrist. There are 8 of them, and these are called carpals. Now, these 8 carpals do have different names, so each one of these little bones have a different name. Now, the hand bones, or bones of the hand, those are called metacarpals. Meta means middle, so middle carpals. And then we have what are called phalanges. So there are 5 metacarpals, and there are 12 phalanges. So there's 3 in every finger, and then only 2 in the thumb. So once we get into this, you'll find out that there is actually what are called proximal phalanges, middle phalanges, and distal phalanges in all of our phalanges, except for our thumb, which just is a proximal and a distal. So let's get into it. First, if we're talking about wrist bones, let's go through and name all the major wrist bones. The first one is called the scaphoid. So the way I remember this is by my descriptions. So large supportive bone. This is one of the largest bones in the wrist, and it kind of like acts like the support, it looks like, of the rest of the wrist bones. So scaffolding acts as a support. So to me, scaphoid makes sense. All right, the next one, it says beneath the middle finger. So underneath your middle finger, there's a wrist bone. It is called the capitate. I think of it as like, if you think of like, I don't know, your hand and your middle finger being the tallest, let's think of it as like the captain of your hand. So the capitate is like the captain. Also, I think if you were to flip somebody off, you might be mad at them and want to decapitate them. That's how I remember it. I have lots of weird memory cues for these. All right, the next one. Beneath the thumb, so directly beneath the thumb, you have a bone that is called the trapezium. The way I think about this one is that, well, a trapeze is something that an acrobat might use. And since our thumbs are opposable, they are like the acrobats of the hand. So I always think of trapezium. Makes sense. So then, beneath the pinky and ring finger, you have there's one bone that actually touches 2 finger bones, or 2 metacarpals. It's called the hamate. And the way I remember it, it is the only wrist bone that is associated with 2 of the finger bones. So therefore, I would say it's like the hog of the hand. It's hogging 2 metacarpals at the same time, so hamate. Number 5, pisiform. It's my favorite. It just sounds funny. So I think of it like this. It is the smallest wrist bone. It's actually located on the side of your wrist right here, this little tiny projection. I always think of it like this. It's like a little bone that's angry and has a Napoleon complex. So it's angry because its form is so small. In fact, it's pissed about it. It's pisiform. Makes sense. Number 6. This bone touches the ulna. Or, why did I write ulna on here? It's not called ulna. It's called your luna. Hold on. Scaphoid. Lunate. It's called your lunate. Let me fix this. I'm not recording this, or I'm not going to re-record this. Lunate. Ulna is what it touches. All right, so it's called your lunate. So your lunate is what touches your ulna, and the way I always remember it is that, well, ulna could be spelled with the word lunate. Also, lunate and ulna kind of sound like, I don't know, interstellar to me, or have to do with space. So I've just always remembered it because they're associated with each other. So makes sense. Number 7, this bone right here, which is on like the lateral side, I guess, of the hand, is called the triquetrum. The triquetrum is one of the only bones. It's surrounded by 3 bones. So the pisiform touches it, the hamate, and the lunate. Number 8, beneath the index finger is the trapezoid. So trapezoid. I always think it's like my fingers, my index finger would be the easiest for me to draw a trapezoid. Makes sense? All right, next one. The hand bones. Now, these are actually under skin in our hands. These are called metacarpals. We have 5 of them. Then we have finger bones. Like I said, there's 12 of them. Those are called phalanges. Same thing we call our toe bones. Now, the next one. We have joints in between our fingers. The reason why I bring this up is that when people crack their knuckles, you are, well, cracking and making, I guess, gas, escape from your interphalangeal joints. So in between the phalanges, so interphalangeal joints. So then we have the three different regions of the fingers. We have the proximal phalanx, the middle phalanx, and then we have the distal phalanx. So the ones closest, meaning more closely to the root of the body, called the proximal phalanx. The ones that are in the middle phalanx, which you can notice right here, there's not a middle phalanx in your thumb, just two. All right, so the furthest part away, those are your distal phalanxes, so fingertips. Okay, as far as forearm bones go, we have a radius and we have an ulna. The one that's on the side of the thumb, which can draw a radius, is called the radius. So radius is on the inside, thumb side, and it's the bone that actually rotates over the ulna, so it can rotate. Okay, the stationary arm bone, meaning the one that does not rotate, and it's actually attached to your elbow, that is called your ulna. So ulna, it can just pivot. 17. Now, if I don't have my skeleton here, but at the base of your humerus, you have this little thing called your trochlea. It is what the ulna actually attaches to and pivots on. So it's the shape of an hourglass, and your ulna has this like little olecranon, it's called, of your elbow that kind of fits around it, and it allows you to pivot, just like that. Now, the next one is called your capitulum. Now, on the rotating arm bone, which is your radius, there's a little round circle that your radius spins upon. So when you're turning your arm, the radius is actually turning on or around the capitulum. Obviously, it was like if you could pitch a ball and like you spin it, capitulum. All right, we've already learned this term. Upper arm bone is called your humerus. Now, I don't know why, but I think it's because I have this in test form, not in study guide form. The elbow is called your olecranon. I should move this term so you can actually see it. Move this over here. So because the elbow is called your olecranon, there is a divot in the back of the arm, which stops you from hyperextending your elbow. Your olecranon fits into it, so it's called the olecranon fossa. Remember, a fossa is a dished out region. The olecranon is the elbow, so it makes sense. This little dished out region or depression in the back of the arm is called the olecranon fossa. So the next one. On your shoulder blade, the head of your humerus fits into what is called the glenoid fossa. So glenoid fossa. I don't know how to remember that one. I don't know. Top of any long bone is called the head. That's very easy. It's been in multiple tests before. However, I don't think, no, I did. Make sure you know the long, smooth part of any bone is called the shaft. And then on your arm bone, you have these two special locations. There is the greater tubercle, and there is the lesser tubercle. These are both locations for muscle attachment. Okay, beneath the head of any long bone is always called the neck. Now, right here, okay. I bring this one up always because when people look at bonier wrists, I have kind of a bony wrist. Oh, it's time for class. I gotta finish this. Anyway, on the radius side, it's called the styloid process of the radius, and on the ulna side, it is called the styloid process of the ulna, which is the opposite side. So it makes sense. It's going to stick out the side. And then, of course, the elbow, I said again, is called the olecranon. And the last term is carpals, or your wrist bones. All right, make sure you write down all the notes and some definitions for each one of these terms. Turn it in for 30 points. That's it. Time for class.